Hi everyone, welcome to another Aero Ranger video. I'm John, and in this one we're going to look at photogrammetry. Photogrammetry is essentially analysing photography using a drone, as it is in this instance, a Mavic Pro, or photography from a smartphone or SLR. And this photography is then thrown into a piece of software called Capture Reality, and it is processed and aligned to create a 3D model just out of the imagery. So there's no modelling involved. And it's a very good workflow to create assets such as this, digital assets, for archival purposes, for asset management, and for creative purposes as well. Okay, this video is about 25 minutes long, and it's designed for beginners specifically. We're going to run through the actual capture of it, and also how to put it together in Capture Reality, and also finally go into Sketchfab as well. Okay, let's get straight into it. Here we are at the South Fremantle Power Station, and I'm just going to go into plan mode in Aero Ranger. So Aero Ranger is our flight control software. You can pick it up for free on the Play Store, and we have a lot of different mission types. We're going to do 3 for this one. The more overlap and the more different angles and directions for photogrammetry, the better. So we're going to go for 70% overlap, and we're going to give it a 10% gimbal angle, which will look slightly down whilst it's doing its linear scan. So this is a linear scan mission. And a linear scan mission is a vertical survey. So we're going to run along the front of the power station for this one to get that really nice, high quality front facade. So let's just start by putting waypoints 1 and 2 along the side of the power station where we want the drone to start pointing to and start doing a vertical survey. Vertical surveys are good for this kind of thing, but also cliff faces, anything that's vertical, maybe a bridge as well. It allows the drone to start at the top and work its way down a wall face or a cliff. Okay, we're going to estimate the structure height at 50 meters, and we're pretty much ready to go. It's saying that there's 16 waypoints that it's automatically generated in Aero Ranger, and we just click fly and see what happens. Obviously, we've got live feed as it goes through, and it's doing all the safety precautions there and uploading the waypoints. So off it goes. Now the power station is fairly large and there's a lot of metal structure in it, so it does interfere a little bit with the live feed, as it would with any other DJI software. It's coming straight from the SDK of DJI, this one. So as you can see, it's doing a vertical survey. You can change the speed on the fly as well. And you can also have hybrid mode, where the drone is on the map going backwards and forwards. You can see it there in the green arrow. The green arrow means the battery is great. It will start moving to orange when we get under 50%. So in hybrid mode, you can see a bit of both, and it's working its way back and forth along the building. You can also change or adjust the gimbal angle at any time whilst it's in the air. So in this example, we're taking too much roof really. And rather than waiting to go right down the edge of the power station, I will manually change that just so we've got a different angle and look down a little more. There we go. That'll get a few different angles as we're going along. As you can see, the arrow is now turned yellow, which means we're under 50% of the battery, which you can see in the bottom right hand corner, and how much of the mission has been completed as well. Okay, so that's that one. The next one we're going to do is a normal survey, but we're going to cross-hatch it. Cross-hatching is going back and forth and also up and down on a survey. So you'll see it as it happens. It'll illustrate it quite well. Doing that gets a lot more angles with the drone, especially when you change the gimbal. At this point we're going to go and lave it at 90 degrees, which is straight down on the gimbal, but to get those really nice oblique angles you could raise that up slightly and maybe get 45% back and forth. But for this one we're going to just show you exactly what a 90-degree survey will do as crosshatch is concerned, and it actually produces a really nice model, especially on the roof and maybe surrounding areas as well. So again, we're going to fly this. All checks have been passed and now it's uploading those waypoints. This might take a little bit longer because there's more waypoints than the last mission. And off it goes. You can see in the hybrid mode the live view there. And what it'll do is it get over to the first waypoint and then start completing its mission. Off it goes to the furthest corner and sets about going up and down. You can change the speed at any time like you can on linear scan. So on crosshatch you can see we're going along the lengthways of the building until we get to the front of it, and then crosshatch means that we'll also pass it in the opposite direction. I will speed up the video here just so we can get through this mission a little quicker. Okay, for the third and the final mission, we're going to use the building mission. And this one is an orbit-based mission, which will add quite a high overlap to it and a reasonably quick target speed. And as you can see, there's two rings. One is an outer orbit and the other one is an inner orbit, just so you can get as many of those different angles as possible. As you can see, we're sort of concentrating on the front of the building, or have done in the past. And we're doing that on purpose. We want to show you what it's like if you sort of miss an area of building. So we're keeping the back completely uncaptured. And as you can see, I'm just doing the front here, just getting those angles correct. I'm going to go for about 190 degrees here as far as the orbit's concerned. So neglect the back of the building, and hopefully that'll reflect when we get into capture reality, and it will illustrate what it's like if you don't get enough images for a certain area. Again, we can also go back at another date and capture the back. We've only got 3 batteries for this this project anyway, and it's quite a large building, so we probably don't have enough for the complete building. But yes, as I said before, I can always go back and complete a little bit more of the building once you've analyzed it through capture reality. Okay, let's fly. Just go through some safety checkups, and the uploading the waypoints right now should be a bit quicker than the survey mission. The good thing is that it does it whilst the aircraft is on the ground. There's no hovering and wasting of battery or anything like that. Okay, I've sped this video up at 1000% just so we can get through it nice and quickly, but hopefully you'll be able to just understand from the glancing how this orbit mission works. So we've gone across to the very edge of the building, and that'll help get some of those images on the two ends of the building, and hopefully that'll illustrate in the capture reality model as well. So we're not actually capturing the very end of the model on this one, just here, so I'll expect that the model isn't great at the tip of that side of the building, and we're not actually capturing anything at the back, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that comes out. Okay, and we're coming home to land. Okay, we're back in the office, and I've just opened up Capture Reality, and I will put a link to this software down below. It's a free demonstration software, so you can actually try it out. You might not be able to export it, but they do have a pretty good trial mode at $99 for 3 months, which will give you what we have here, and that will allow you to really sort of learn how to use it without investing too heavily. It's very, very powerful software. It is a little strange in its layout with the different windows and things like that, and sometimes a little bit buggy. It is version 1, but I think it's worth persevering with because we found that the results are so much better than all the other software out there at this time. So it's quite easy to set the whole thing up. Select all the images that you captured on the day, every single one, and just throw them into the interface here, the process panel, and make sure they've all gone in perfectly. The database on Capture Reality isn't here for this particular drone, but that's not a problem. We can just click Align Images anyway, and hopefully their database will update soon. So we're aligning these images. This will probably take around 20 to 30 minutes depending on your machine, and we will pause this now and speed things up. Okay, once it's done, you'll get this kind of point cloud, but also all the angles of the cameras as well. You can see, you can kind of see the orbit there, and also the linear scan. The building's starting to come together. It's a single model, which is great. It's all at funny angles at the moment. So we'll do some adjusting, just so we can start to see the building coming together. I've just taken off all the camera angles just to clean it up a bit so we can see what we're doing. And then we can align the floor, the ground floor, just to make it a little straighter. Yeah, just needs a bit more adjusting. This can also be done in Sketchfab, so if it's slightly out here, it'll still Okay, once we've aligned it, we'll need to maybe look at the reconstruction region. The reconstruction region is this grey box that is around the building. That is what will be analysed and textured and created as far as a 3D model is concerned. Nothing outside that box will be part of it. So we can do that by selecting the reconstruction region, which we'll do in a second. It's best to just get rid of all the stuff that's around the building, such as areas like hills behind, anything that you weren't really part of the subject when you were intentionally shooting it, because that area of the model won't be very good anyway. So we select a reconstruction region. I tend to go for the automatic set because it will do its best to find the location with the best part of the model in, and then from there you can start adjusting it using these tools, the little dots, which will be able to bring in the region of the box here. So straighten up a bit, bring that in. It's always important to select the floor one as well to make sure the actual floor isn't cropped. Just bring that down a little more than needed. That looks really good. So we'll capture that area and none of the sort of the peripheral areas of the model. I'm really happy with that. We'll go on to the next stage, which is actually creating this model. We're going to do this in normal detail. We've got quite a high-end games machine here. Be prepared if you want to go high detail to wait for 2 to 3 days for this to happen. Normal detail for us is about 4 hours, and we will obviously speed that up so you don't have to wait around. And at the end of it, it looks like it's a blanket of snow's come across. This is the model without the texture on, so there's no photography on this model now. I'll just do a save up. It's very important just to keep on saving as you go, of course, like anything, especially in this piece of software actually, just because it is sometimes a little bit flaky. And as you can see, it's a point cloud, but a very dense one. Now we can start to texture this, but it will take a long time to texture this up, and we will find that a lot of pieces of software just can't handle something with this density of point cloud. So we're going to simplify it a bit and also smooth it out a bit if possible, just to make everything a little easier to digest from other pieces of software. Now you can simplify just areas of the model. So instead of doing that, we're selecting it all just to make sure it's all simplified. And we're going to add in a triangle count here of around 10 million, which is a lot less than it is beforehand. It's a good starting point anyway, at least. So the process of this is a lot quicker than the other areas of computation. So this shouldn't take too long. And then the same for smoothing as well. We'll just pause it anyway. Okay. So not much has really changed. It's very hard to see the difference, and that's good. That just means that we've simplified the model, but not lost too much detail. Okay, that looks good. Okay, Now let's smooth it out. You click smooth and then it will bring up a small dialog which you can click smooth again with default parameters. Again, this is a sort of a beginner's mode just to get you through the process, and you may find that there's a lot better scenarios that work for yourself by adjusting some of those figures, but this really is just a quick way of getting through. Okay, so as you can see, the simplification and smoothing has really started to hammer the detail in this model, but I think you'll be surprised once it's textured how it starts to come together. Again, you can adjust any of these options as you go through, and it's a bit of trial and error. And once you're in scene mode, I'd suggest toggling between the vertices, the solid and the sweep mode. This will give you a few more ideas of how the model will finish up once it's been textured. But once it's textured, it's a lot more forgiving than what you're seeing here. So let's texture up and see how it comes out. We click texture instead of colorize at this point, and then there's a draft version of that. That will really give you a texture very quickly, but the results will not be very good at all, to be honest. Okay, so we're textured, and you can see it's made a massive difference. You can't see any of those the problems with those vertices at all, and it really looks like a good model. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. You can see the windows that are missing are really sort of missing in the model as well. There's a few little areas that need to be cleaned up. There are options to clean it up within Capture Reality. We won't go through that in this video, but it can also be brought into other tools such as ZBrush if you wanted to go further to clean up things and maybe smooth out walls and all that kind of thing. So this area I'm really starting to be pleased with. Even the side wall there, which we didn't actually do any linear scan on at all, just the survey and then the orbit, and the roof is looking really good. The holes are there in the actual model where they are in real life, really starting to come together. Again, you can also add more images to this at a later date if your computer's up to it, of course. The back, as predicted, doesn't look too good, but it allows you to create the model, understand what the problems are, and go back and complete a few more images if required. It's also a good learning process. It allows you to start off small. It doesn't have to be a power station. It could be just something in your garden, for example. It could be a statue using your normal iPhone camera or whatever. It doesn't necessarily need to be a drone. Okay, at this point we're going to upload to Sketchfab and do a couple more settings in there. This is really just to creatively make it look a little better than the default Sketchfab viewer, and at that point we'll be ready to share it in the same way as you would a YouTube video, really, but with a 3D model. Okay, here we are in the editor in Sketchfab. As you can see, the model's changed slightly. It's a bit more dark, a bit more contrasty. We'll fix those up before we publish it. It's a bit like a YouTube editor. You can make some adjustments, create the thumbnail, that kind of thing, and then you can share the link and everyone can manipulate it in the same way as I'm doing here. Okay, let's try and fix this up a bit before we go any further. Click on Advanced Rotation and you can rotate the model around. As I mentioned before, when we're in Capture Reality, you can adjust them in this stage as well. So we're just lining these up with the actual lines on the floor here. You can also do some major adjustments if you want as well. At the moment it's looking a little darker. It's sort of unlit. Well, it's sort of lit, but it's in the classic renderer. So if we add the PBR renderer, you can see it's got a bit more dynamic range already, and that really helps. I think what we'll need to do is to add some different lighting. You can also change the actual background. That will reflect the model as well, because it's using HDRI kind of lighting through 360-degree imagery. Okay, it's starting to look a little better already. It's a little bit dark. As you can see, the environment is black and white. I'm starting to add a couple of lights in there now. At the moment I've added a kind of sun, and we'll change the environment map. That's looking a lot better to a HDRI sky. So you can turn that on, and also spotlights as well. You can adjust the location of those spots in the same way as you would with a 3D model. Okay, so once you're happy with the settings, And of course, you can duplicate the project anytime, have a really good play around. Once you're happy with them, save up and publish it, and you will get a link that you can share around. We'll share the link to this one, and thanks for watching. Cheers.